front of you, okay? Now,
how thick was that ice?
how thick was it? Well, you know, ice in Greenland now is up to 15,000 feet. And when you start thinking back there, you're probably, the Laurentian ice sheet here was probably 18 to 20,000 feet thick. And so it had a big melt slope. Now this huge amount of ice, you think about it, is humongous. But then when the sea levels, when the ice is up there, sea level's low, the Susquehanna now comes and cuts across the southern end of the eastern shore, and Chesapeake Bay storm. What's happened in the last few thousand years? Well, we've had mammoths. Some of you know, Mike back there knows that we have a mastodon in York County.
Yes,
Did you hear that? 32 years ago, a black man was hunting. He had a 4th grade education, but he had 4 wonderful properties, which I hope all of you have. As he was crossing the creek, which was very shallow at the time, he looked down and saw a piece of wood. It looked a little peculiar, so he picked it up. Well, later he was told that it was the tooth of a mastodon. He looked around and he found the outer part of the right jawbone. He found rib bones. He found a bone he didn't know what it was. Turns out to be one of the foot bones. Now, we never find parts of any of these things. We always find a tusk. You know, something ugly like that. This is not a piece of wood like many people keep calling it. It's made of what mineral?
Apatite.
Apatite, right. Don't drop it. Okay? We also find another type. Here, I'm going to rush to the wall on this one.
gypsum.
I'm going to rush the wall. Walrus. Right? It's a canine. That tusk there is a canine. Comes out the front. Okay? If you want to see what the tooth, and this is a fragment badly beaten up of a mammoth, looks like, you get some idea of its character because there's a soft part and a hard part, so it has a ridge and valley on the surface. So these are grazers. The mastodon is a browser. What's the difference between those two? The grazer eats off the ground. That's right. Congratulations. You get to see this first. Okay? Okay. So the thing about this guy was he went to 4 different places before he got identified. First of all, he had curiosity. Secondly, he was persistent. Third was he had a good sense of humor at my expense. Because I said, can I go out to the site? He says, oh yeah! So I dash out to the site that Saturday, and the water is this deep. And, you know, ice floating down it. And I said, well, I'll come back in 2 weeks with my wetsuit. I got in there, baby. I called him the night before. He said, oh yeah, we're all set. Meet you here and we'll walk down to the place. We walked down to the place. He'd been there the day before, and I had my wetsuit, and the water was this deep. You guys laugh at my expense again. Okay, well, that's the long and short of that. But the 4th thing that really impressed me was I found the bones in the creek over here, but I think they came from over there. I'm not exaggerating that distance. He had realized that the stream had turned its course, impinged upon that little part of the bluff, washed those samples over here during the more torrential rain. That son of a gun was right. After about 45 minutes of probing with an extended ice pick, it went scrunch.
Okay.
Excavated, here were the blooms of the foot. So you see this guy had 4 things. Curiosity, persistence, humor, bless their hearts. And 4thly, he could really use his brain. I was really impressed with Cornell. So it's The problem was, when we went to people who owned it, guess what? They wouldn't let us dig it up. About 2.5 months ago, I got a call from George, somebody.
Oops,
He said,
okay.
did you,
I think it's going
you,
back
Dr.
this
Johnson?
way.
Yes.
Thanks.
Did you work on a mast in York County? I said, yes, but they wouldn't let me dig it up. And he says, we own the property to go after it. So if we can get the stream rains and stop, we can get back to the creek. Okay? So we hope that later August will be when we go back there. And anybody who wants to keep you informed, we'll let you know. Okay? Now, what's happening recently is this. If you go back to 18,000 years ago, this is down to 400 feet below sea level. Sea level is. And it rises, and it comes up relatively rapidly until about 8,000 years ago, and then it starts tapering off, and then it's basically flat. So it's not high sea level. A study at Jamestown Island, however, and this is 5,000 years ago roughly, it's down about 30 feet, sea level is. And then over the next 5,000 years, it comes up here. We have no data here because we do have data, but it's got to be wrong because there's compression of the sediments. You know the problem. Trying to collect in marshes. So that doesn't count, but this rise of sea level over roughly 5,000 years is 30 feet. So if you go into Jamestown back then, it stood right where the water's edge, you'd have to go down 30 more feet to find the river. Okay? And this brings us up to today. Any questions about that? Hampton, much of it is so low that a good storm floods it because it's the lowest on the step. Remember the stair steps? You're just barely above sea level, and so as a result, there's a lot of flooding.
I can see my house from
I hate to
here.
say it, but the future of Hampton is measured.
Yep.
Okay? Now, we could go on, but I'm not going to. Please, did yet.
Yay!
Now, you can all see this. What does it look like to you?
Wood?
Petrified. Oh, petrified wood. Boy, you know what?
Is it fresh?
Not petrified.
Not petrified.
Just wait.
Fossil?
Yeah.
Okay, now listen to the definition of a fossil because it's going to blow your world. It's the recognizable remains of a tree. Even Joyce Kilmer would know that, right? I think that I shall see a poem lovely as a tree. Okay? Now, recognizable remains of or traces. For example, can I borrow your arm? 5 million years ago, this young lady swimming in the ocean. Along comes a Carcharodon megalodon and takes a piece out that leaves the bite marks. Now, along comes this incredibly brilliant paleontologist later who finds this bone and says, oh my gosh, a human and a Carcharodon megalodon. Because she's got two things. The remains of or trace of a prehistoric organism. It's got to be more than 5,000 to 6,000 years. This came from the dam site at Busch Gardens to make that nice lake so when you go for a Rhine River ride.
Oh.
This piece of wood is 10,400 years old, plus or minus 80. It is fossil. 99% of the fossils you ever find are the original material. Get it? Look. Original material. You guys couldn't see it well then, but notice the pearly luster on this 68 million year old ammonite. This is still bone. Bones like this you can actually get organic compounds out of. So, but you got my point? The recognizable remains of or traces of a prehistoric organism. That's it. That's my last comment, sir. Questions?